Preston McCall here. I want to talk in this video about how to buy art from a gallery. From my experience of being on the other side of the fence and being the gallery owner, in seeing what worked the best for people and what worked the best for the gallery. It's a fairly straightforward process, but let me kind of go over a lot of the little parts to it and explain some things that you might find helpful. It's not the only way to do business, but it's a good way. So here we go. I have owned a couple of galleries in Santa Fe, New Mexico over the years and still operate McCallFineArt.com online. The first one was started in 2001, and I still primarily live back in Kansas City, some 700 miles away. I had a small apartment in Santa Fe and spent about 75% of my time down there. The arduous track of driving back and forth on the expensive overhead was a bit too much. So I sold off the assets and moved back to Kansas City in early 2004 to focus on my advertising business. I did sell some 350 of my paintings, and it proved to me that my work was viable for retail in that market. In 2014, Susie and I moved everything to Santa Fe and opened another gallery up on Canyon Road after selling both of our houses. The street is some 4 blocks long and has some 100 galleries. It is a bustling art market where people come to Santa Fe as an art destination to shop for art. Picturesque in high mountainous desert, Santa Fe is a beautiful city and full of artists and galleries. Some say it is the second or third largest art market in the U.S. My experience with dealing with the buyers taught me much about what different kinds of people buy art. Let me tell you about the different types of art buyers in this video, and I will also talk about how to approach and purchase art in a way that I've seen as the best way to establish a fun experience in this endeavor. In a typical day, there are perhaps as many as 50 people who breeze in to see the artworks. Some days less if the weather is bad, and many more on the Friday night openings or special events along Canyon Road. For instance, Christmas Eve, there were as many as 1,000 people into the gallery. But most of the days, there are some 50 people stopping in on average. We would greet everyone, assuming they were just looking and perhaps something would catch their eye. It was never a hard sell situation, and we always tried to act friendly and welcoming. Naturally, there were a few looky-loos who would come in, look around, and were too embarrassed to ask many questions. Then they'd wander out. That was to be expected. We tried to make them feel welcome nonetheless. We never knew if they might come back and light on a particular piece. Then there were the couples on a fun vacation to Santa Fe. They were on a lark and generally in superb moods. Coming in, they would wander about and look at the various pieces we had on display. Generally, they would ask a few questions about some pieces and mention that they just got to town and had begun their search, and would tell us they would definitely be back. Sometimes they did, and the sale would generally begin. Their goal was to purchase a piece of art to remember their fun trip to Santa Fe. We would consummate the sale and ship the piece to them as soon as possible. There were also just single people who would come in and also look around. The way they looked at some pieces and the questions they asked indicated to us they were serious or just thinking. Not necessarily being serious art collectors, they were just looking for a piece similar to the couples to remember their glorious trip, and were always polite and easy with whom to talk. Sometimes they would buy then or come back after checking out various other galleries. Now, the collectors were a different group, perhaps only about 5% of the traffic. They were on a mission and were looking for a specific artist or type of work, sculpture, landscapes, or some interesting narrative piece of mine or Susie's. Sometimes they were repeat clients and were looking to get another piece. These collectors required the closest attention to providing them all the information they needed or asked about. Some were pleasant and some were not so much, but they bought art, and if they were treated with kid gloves, they were great people. So how do you approach a gallery? How do you get the best attention and even get a deal on some rare treasure you might find? The best way is to simply follow your instincts and look at what you like. Some galleries might give you a rush and tell you that this particular artist is selling out fast. That might be the case, but face it, that sounds like pressure. Smile and wave, and if you really like the work, try to look past the sale drill and start talking about the work, the artist, and how much they would really take for the piece you're looking at. If they are hard selling, then they will negotiate more, I suspect. Play it cool and make them work for your last dollar. Okay, say you find a gallery that is not so hard sell and you like the work, or at least one particular piece. Tell them you like it and what is their best price. How much will the shipping and will it come to your home or office insured? Assume they will take credit cards, as everyone does anymore. Ask them if you can take a picture of the piece with your phone. But ask first. Some people don't like people taking pictures of artwork. Let them move the piece into a viewing area with better light and definitely look at the back of the piece. Is it properly framed? Is the canvas properly attached to the frame or just nailed in with some bent nails and glue running down the edge? Look at the signature and look at other works they have by the same artist to see if the signature is similar. If the piece looks acceptable, ask a bit about the artist. Who is it? And how many works of theirs have they sold in the past? Ask if they know where else the artist shows. Of course, now today, most artists have websites. That makes you think that perhaps you slow down a bit and go check the internet to see if the work is typical of the artist's main body of work. After you've gathered all your information, stop. Tell them you want to consider this piece seriously. Tell them that it is the most interesting piece you've seen so far. Right size, right colors, and you like the basic feel of the piece. They will probably say that it might not be there when you come back naturally, but it is rare that that really happens. Explain to them that you want to just think about it some more. You have not committed to any deal or a price yet, and do not try to negotiate a final deal unless you're really ready to buy it on the spot. They will probably give you a business card or even some literature on the gallery or the artist and probably say they have no way to ensure the piece will be there when you come back. If they ask for a deposit to hold it, just tell them you're still looking. Be polite and assure them that you will be back soon. Okay, they see you off and are thinking they just ran into another potential sell, or else you're a B-backer who will vanish once you leave. Welcome to the retail side of the art business. You wander off and go see some other galleries. You look at some other intriguing works and compare in your thoughts the value of the piece you just examined. Go have lunch and walk around a while. In a few hours, maybe even the next morning, you go back. You look at the internet and check out the artist, and then you feel comfortable that this is where you want to try to acquire a piece of art. They greet you with open arms and ask you how your stay in town has been. Tell them you've looked at various other pieces and you still like this one at their gallery. They direct you over to it once again and maybe even move it to their display viewing area, adjusting the lighting. Now move in for the kill. I like this piece and I think I'd like to purchase it. They immediately come to attention and act very interested. Let me ask you, would you take 85% of the previously mentioned price for it and include shipping? Anything less than 70% is usually a lowball offer and generally not a genuine offer I have seen. A lowball offer is usually followed up with another be back later situation and is almost always a sign that the offer is fake, with the potential buyer just pulling a leg. It's rare, but it does happen. They come back at you with maybe some discount of 10% and offer to split the shipping. Or a really smart salesperson will ask you if any of the other work in the gallery interests you and offer you some combination deal. This actually does work for some buyers and sellers, as they sell two pieces and you get a better deal on the pair, you assume. If not, then you say no and zero in on the deal for the piece you really want. A good next line is, I understand your offer, but how about we split the difference, say 85% of the retail price? They will probably counteroffer back at you, and you'll get it for 12% off and get the boxing and shipping included. They begin to write up the sales order and ask you for your shipping information, your address, your phone, your email address, and so on. They may even ask you for another $50 so they can provide you with a certificate of origin from artownership.com and explain that this is a document that will be attached to the back of the piece with another copy for your files. These certificates of origin attest to the sale for accurate insurance appraisals and also have for the future when you pass the piece on years later to one of your heirs, showing where and how much you paid for it. These are good values, and the records are stored at artownership.com in case the gallery should ever close. I can't emphasize the value of a certificate of origin. They really do help the customer feel comfortable about the sale, and it makes the gallery a little more money. It is basically how most sales occur. In over 1,000 of these transactions, I've seen this process seem to work the best for the buyer. Slow it down a bit, and if you lose the piece to someone else, so be it. It was not meant to be. Find another piece and only buy what you like, not what they tell you is a good investment, unless you are seriously buying art as an investment, which is a rare thing for most gallery transactions. Most buyers are just looking to buy an interesting piece that suits their fancy. Investing in art in hopes that it will appreciate in value is definitely a risky adventure, unless you're buying very high-end and well-known documented artists. Another thing about buying art is that sometimes they will have the original art for sale, generally at some inflated price, and offer you a special deal on a limited number giclée. I strongly discourage this, as giclées have really not been proven to hold up against the test of time and value. These are printed copies, and just that. They may be much less expensive, but you are not buying original art. These are not limited editions of lithography prints, which are much different in terms of their genuine value. A limited edition litho will hold its value, especially if it is by a well-known artist. They are limited in number and signed as such. A giclée is just another print that can be printed off as many times as they need. Giclées are just not the same. I don't mean to discredit giclées as not being valuable. It's just they're just not the same. Lithos are different. Original paintings are different. Giclées really are just good prints. Bottom line is to take your time. Look before you leap. Shop around and see what the market is really showing you, and ask yourself what size, style, and quality of work are you really seeking. You will meet most galleries as being very polite, and rarely will you run into a high-pressure operation. It is really a laid-back business in so many ways, and despite any of the hustle you run into, remember they exist because of you. Now, as an artist and as a gallery owner, I'm sure this video will upset a few other gallery people. I'm first of all an artist and want to share my experience for the benefit of other artists and certainly buyers. I apologize if this offends some gallery people, but I personally feel the need to explain how good business should be done for the benefit of all concerned. I am Preston McCall, and I appreciate you letting me vent about this topic. Please hit the like and subscribe buttons, and I will make some more outrageous comments about the art world. Thank you so much for watching.